That second half, is that kind of your best? Is that just what this defense could look like with this defense fully healthy and everyone on the field as best as they can be?
No, I feel like we got a lot more in the tank. I feel like we still haven't played our best football, um, and we're still preparing. We still got to get better. It's only the midway through the season, so we feel like if we want to really take that next jump, we just got to continue to grow.
Where's that next jump? What areas are you seeing that need to be improved?
Just clean up the finer details, gap fitting, really form tackling, doing everything that we can to pressure the quarterback and kind of just do the little things.
Is it kind of crazy to think you haven't been able to play a full game yet all season? Like, whether it was targeting, whether you believe it or not, or having to sit out the first half of the Cal game, just halfway through the year, and you haven't been able to show a full game yet.
They happen the way they did. I think me personally, I'm just focused on, trying to stay healthy and keep fighting for the rest of the season.
How do you feel now, just that you got full games ahead of you in that respect?
I feel good. I feel like we got a lot in the tank. I'm happy to really put it all together. I feel like there are a couple games where that real leadership was missing or lacking. But, even though I tried to make it up on the sideline, but it's nothing like really being with the team and being able to, rally together when, the time is needed.
You've been a mentor to Braden, dating back into the offseason here. To have him back, I'd imagine is probably not only a nice boost for this defense, but also kind of for you as well, having a guy that you've connected that much with on that line.
Yeah, we've been, really cursed with a lot of injury this season, and I feel like, having people back is kind of like the best thing for us, and, he's a great player, so having him being able to contribute and, pressure the quarterback and set the edge, it really helps us.
Can you expand just a bit on the mental aspect of that? Because, when you do have that amount of injuries to different players kind of back to back to back, I'd imagine there's a grind there coupled with some really good relief when you do get those guys back.
Yeah, I feel like there's been, inconsistent, really first team, which makes it kind of hard to really gel together and build that team chemistry. So having to plug a lot of different guys in has kind of messed up the chemistry that we had going into the season. But I feel like, moving forward, us being back and even the younger guys stepping up has really been contributing to it.
Along those lines, what does it say about this team's resiliency that through all the injuries, you guys are still in control of winning the Pac-12 for a third straight year?
We just keep fighting. I feel like Coach Cristobal has a great plan. The way we practice, the way we play, it's really hard, and we kind of prepare for the worst.
What's your role when you are a guy that is kind of in and out with an injury? You're such a focal point for this defense as a player and leader, and you try and exercise that leadership in certain ways, but I'd imagine it's harder to do sometimes when you're not on the field for certain spurts.
It's definitely harder, but, being a guy who knows the ins and outs of the game, I'm able to even see it even more on the sideline. So being able, during the game when they come out to the sideline, giving them the tips and giving them the tricks that'll help them, and even in practice, kind of walking people through more stuff that they would need, if need be, I'm not there.
Has that helped you at all, just being able to see the game a little bit differently from the sidelines and maybe know something different when you do get out there?
Well, I think the greatest players are the greatest teachers. So, if you are able to articulate the game to somebody else, it'll help you in the long run.
Last play against Cal, when you got the call, knew what you were going to do, pretty excited. It was an all-out blitz, wasn't it, pretty much, or what was it?
The last play of the game, yeah, it was something of that nature. I didn't really expect them to cut block, but I knew the quarterback was going to run it, so I tried to really cut down that rush angle, and it ended up being a cut block, so it kind of made for my rush angle to be right on, and, it just came to us, and luckily my team was able to rally and make the tackle and, get the stand.
Sorry, this came over late, but just what has the last 6 weeks been like mentally for you?
They've been good. I've been able to grow. I've been able to get better in the things that I've, lacked in, the things that you kind of overlook. I've been able to really find who I am within this team and how I could, still contribute even though I'm not on the field.
You addressed criticism of some kind. Did you hear it, see it? Was it just perception of it about NIL and not being on the field? But you addressed that. You just voiced.
Well, I never. Criticism doesn't come to you directly when you're doing everything right. It's always speculation, from the back. So for me, it's not really that I was addressing criticism. For me, it was more trying to change the narrative. One thing I've always talked about is kind of controlling the narrative and controlling the light that I shine. So, being able to be who I am and kind of show people the way that I'm doing it and how I want to do it, You know, I don't think anyone can really stop it. I just got to make sure that it's still, you know, we're still keeping the main thing.
Sorry if you were asked this, but just going through the first half, not being able to play, what was it like that? And then what was it? How much energy do you feel like you had kind of caged up to unleash after halftime?
I don't feel like it was a lot of energy. I just knew that once my time came, I was going to have to step up and play. I tried to stay poised and really kind of, you know, contribute to the team, but keep them level-headed because you never want to get too high or too low. So just being able to really get back out there in the second half just kind of gave me that pep in my step back to you know, that I'm really out here.
I guess it was a risk you could try to do too much.
Yeah.
So you were on guard against that,
Well,
trying to stay in control.
Yeah, mentally. You know, when you're on the sideline and even when I did pregame warm-ups, you don't want to get too fluctuated. You don't want to get too hyped because then you crash and then you got to get back up mentally. So it was like just being able to stay level-headed and get in and just know the job that I had to do.
That length of a goal line stand, I mean, is that something you've experienced before on the football field, having to defend that many plays that backed up like that?
I think we probably did something like that at Washington 2 years ago.
Yeah.
If I could remember at Washington, but just, you know, I loved it. I mean, for me, it was just being out there and seeing everybody on their feet and just seeing the crowd really into it. It kind of gave me that surreal moment of like, wow, like this is really why we play, and being able to come back. And I wasn't even mad when they got the first down or whatever happened, but just being able to keep playing and knowing that whatever happens, we just got to fight to the end.
Trevor, in my eyes, has been a guy that, if you out and other guys out, he's played a lot and he's done well. What have you just seen from him and just his development?
I mean, he's done a lot better. You know, coming into this season, he didn't know if he was going to play a lot. So for me, it was just me and Nace Fuller just trying to keep his head in the game and keep a lot of guys' head in the game that no matter how the season starts, you never know. And it's always the next man up mentality. So just being ready and keep preparing like you are, you know, about to start. And when his time came, you know, he was able to make plays and do what he's done.
What do you feel like he's gotten better at?
Setting the edge, being more confident. You know, one thing about playing football is you got to play with confidence to be able to really show your ability. So his confidence has really been up. His play recognition has went up, and you know, the next steps for him is probably communicating, learning those in between the lines. But I think he's done a great job, and you know, he's going to keep growing.
Talk a little bit about your development as a run stuffer and what's going to be key for you guys to limit those backs.
You know, making the gap smaller, our second end coming up and filling in the holes, and just being able to, you know, keep him in the box.
You faced dual threat quarterbacks before throughout your career. What does DTR bring to the table that might be a little bit different?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
What does Dorian Thompson-Robinson bring to the field that may be a little bit different than even some of the mobile quarterbacks you've played before?
Their game plan. I feel like UCLA has a really unorthodox game plan, and I feel like they try to throw a lot at you to get your eyes in different places and, you know, kind of make you feel like it's more complicated than it really is. So if we're able to just play with good eyes and good technique, we'll be able to, you know, to work with it.
That being a lot of the multi-tight end and unbalanced.
Multi-tight end, unbalanced, the motions, the QB reads, the read options, just the different plays. They give him a lot of leeway to do what he does and to show his ability. So just being able to use good eyes and good feet and good hands is going to help us a lot.
When some of the things you were aspiring for are beyond reach because of the injury, because of limited time, how have you readjusted, recalibrated some of those personal goals for this season?
I feel like my goal has always been to be 1-0 and kind of win the day. So at the end of the day, I have to look at it as you can only control what you can. So just being able to keep going, and that's kind of the mantra I took into that second half, where it's like you only got a half, so you got to do what you can. So, you know, now going into the rest of the season, I just got to make the best of every opportunity.
You're someone who's so at peace. Now, always. There are others who shoot for the Heisman as a defensive player. They could come off as angry right now that, you know, all the years to be heard, here's an opportunity that I missed. How are you able to maintain this unbelievable level of inner mental peace?
Because I feel like God has a plan for everyone. You know, so for me, maybe, you know, however you look at it, I've been blessed with full health. So, you know, at the end of the day, just being able to keep going through the season and keep competing with my team, I mean, there's no award or there's no accolade that can get me down. You know, as long as I'm healthy and I'm out there and being able to contribute to the win, that's all that really matters.
You guys were able to get that winner, pretty crazy game offense into this matchup.
I feel like that game was a different game. Me personally, I don't really look at that team for what this team is because they got a lot of different players. But just fighting to the end. You know, it's going to be a dogfight. We're going to the Rose Bowl. It's a great team, great stadium, great coaching. You just got to really play and leave it all on the field.
Do you have any understanding of what you could have done differently on the targeting play?
I could have at the end of it the force. It's all about force and motion. You know, it wasn't really my hands. I lead with my hands always, but when someone's on your back, and you just got to kind of stop your motion, and I left my feet. That's what kind of had me come down more and hit him in the head. But, you know, it happens. I just got to, you know, keep getting better and keep that technique and keep going.